And so we're talking about like Crowder's ego and stuff. And then like, this is one of the times that I think it came out in spades. Like I was like, that's it. You didn't like what that guy just said. So have you ever heard of a journalist called John Stossel?
Mm-mm.
Okay. He works on Reason TV mostly, I think. Anyway, he's interviewing Crowder on Stossel's podcast. And then Stossel's just talking about the kind of humor that Crowder does. And he gave some feedback to Crowder, which Crowder obviously didn't like. But it's just the way that Crowder responds to it.
The one that got you in trouble recently is your comments about $5 billion going to farmers of color.
Most happy about the new policy, these people. I'm gonna buy a plow, man. I'm gonna plant that corn. Go get a John Deere. Barack Obama, mother, I'm the president of plowing that air. Yeah, that was a joke where we did an impression of people from, and again, keep in mind the context of that joke. There's a big difference. People should be able to understand this. For example, when Trevor Noah goes out and says, the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes because of calling it the China virus and angry white people, that's a claim. That's not a joke. I differentiate between that claim and when he makes a joke. And even if I don't find it funny, I have to acknowledge that it's a joke. When me and my co-host Dave Landau are talking about the irony in that white suburbans have moved, or white rural people have moved into downtown Detroit to urban farm, and we're supposed to believe that the inverse has happened. And again, we talked about the numbers of how many people in this country are black farmers proportionally to the number allotted to them. Then we go into an impression of hipsters in Detroit and Detroit African Americans living out on farms. It's a fish out of water tale. It's funny.
But the way
it's absolutely not
did it was mean, nasty. I don't blame YouTube for saying, I don't want this on our channel.
No, I thought you had a better sense of humor than that.
Okay.
A joke should be funny.
Yeah.
That was not a joke. That was flat out racism. If he had numbers to support what he was saying about the number, like a disproportionate number of black farmers versus, right? So if he's got the numbers, he could have presented those numbers in a way that was factual and the way that was actually not douchebaggy.
Yeah,
but if he just took that opportunity to be a racist and do a racist impression and then tried to defend it by saying it's a joke, you had a better sense of humor, go fuck yourself. That's not funny ever to anybody. The only people that's funny to are other fucking racists.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that, so his whole spiel with this whole argument is about how, like, well, it's free speech, you're about to say what you want. And then he doesn't think it's punching down and stuff like that. Like, I don't really think punching down exists in that sense. There's well-intentioned jokes and there's bad-intentioned jokes. Like, that had a touch of malevolence and racism to it, in my view. Obviously, I can't say what he intended. I'm speaking as a psychologist now. I don't know what he intended because I don't know his mind. I just know that when he does those jokes, they make me really fucking uncomfortable and I feel racist even watching it.
I mean, there's also like well-intentioned jokes that don't land the way you expect them to.
Yeah.
He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly who he was talking to and who his audience was. And that's a very specific type of it's the same people who were shooting up Bud Light cans, right? Like the person who would laugh at that joke is shooting up a Bud Light can. So he knew what he was doing. He just didn't like being called out on it. And instead of saying, you know what, I could see how that, instead of taking any sort of ownership or accountability, he was just like gaslighting. Oh, I thought you had a better sense of humor than that.
Yeah.
Trying to make.
And then just to show people like that we do have a sense of humor. And then it's about where it comes from, right? So I fucking love Shane Gillis. He's one of my favorite ones at the moment. So I've got an autistic joke of his that we can laugh at because I'm autistic, so we can laugh at this joke. This is a fucking good joke, though, honestly. And considering your best friend's autistic, it should hit home for you.
Does that mean I'm allowed to laugh too?
Yeah.
Down syndrome? All right. I'll do that. That was not my suggestion. But I will say this. I like it. I'm pro it. I have family members that have it. It's fun.
All of that's true, by the way. He used to coach a Down syndrome basketball team. That's why he talks about it, and he does have family members with Down syndrome. So
There's a new Down syndrome. There's a new Barbie coming out with has Down syndrome.
Oh, we're gonna be speaking about that in a minute too. I've got a clip for that.
That is weird because everybody's always like, "Oh, it's the best thing you could be." They're happy as fuck, dude. They have the best life, dude. Autistic kids, they're like cats. A little skittish. You're not sure if they like you at all. Down syndrome are dogs. They're the dogs, dude. You get home from somewhere, they're like, "Where the fuck have you been, dude? I got so much to show you. This is gonna be the best day." Ask a Down syndrome kid, "Do you want to go for a walk?" Like, yeah. Like, throw a ball. Throw a ball.
When I did that kick-ass facts about Down syndrome, every source that I found, because I do research the stuff that I do. I went to multiple sources, and all of the sources said that like 96% of people with Down syndrome said that they would not change a thing. They were super happy. Like they were happier than the average person.
Yeah. It's a very misunderstood thing, and I hate the fact that there's a lot of people being activists on their behalf in areas where they can speak for themselves. You know?
Yes, and there's certainly areas where they do need some. There's not enough health supports. There's not enough programs, so there's lots of opportunities there. But I think everyone just assumes that nobody else can speak for themselves, which is unfortunate. But the difference in that joke was that it was positive. It was speaking from a place of clearly of knowledge and appreciation and love.
Yeah.
Whereas Crowder's was just coming from a mean. He was just coming from a mean place.
Yeah, and then so this is the thing with the Down syndrome Barbie, right? That like my initial knee-jerk reaction was, "Oh, this is going to be cringe," about the idea of like I hate it when companies try and do like a representation thing. But then I thought about it for more than 30 seconds, and I was like, no, actually, this is something that Down syndrome kids would fucking love.
Exactly, right? Like it's like, I could think back to those videos of when young Black girls were seeing the commercials for the new Little Mermaid, and they were just like, she looks like me, right? Like that excitement and enthusiasm. Like any kid would love a doll that looks like them. Like I had a doll when I was a kid that came from Portugal that was like dressed in traditional Portuguese garb, and I fucking loved that doll because they have. At the time, they didn't have like Portuguese Barbie, but it's not clothing that I wore. It wasn't the culture that I was accustomed to, but it was just like
your heritage.
Yeah, and so like a young kid with Down syndrome having a doll that looks like them, and that's amazing. That's amazing.